Good morning, YouTube families. My name is Blanche Clayton, and this video is being done because I'm a concerned grandparent with the message. This video is a call to interrupt the pattern of hands-off parenting to hands-on parenting. It is also a call for parents to return to the job of active parenting. In America, we drifted away from hands-on to hands-off, and look at the results that we have ended up with. Presently in America, there are over 4.5 decades of children who have never been raised by their biological parents. This is an atrocity. And as a result of this, we have children who are in crisis. Outsourcing of child care replaced the stay-at-home mom. And look at some of the results and the outcomes that we are living with now. Children are characterized today as showing no remorse for wrongful acts that they do to anybody, and that includes their parents. Also, it has been documented that children no longer have what is expected to be within human beings. What does that say about us? What does that say about us? I can recall in my many years of an administrator in early childhood education, where young parents would meet in my office to discuss concerns of their children, and many of them were not even aware that they were parents until they were actually seated in my office. And I'm talking to them as parents. Many of you have had similar experiences during this COVID pandemic. Many of you came face to face with the reality that you did not possess the parenting skills that you need in order to raise your children, because outsourcing is the only thing that you know. That job belonged to somebody else. Again, look at the results of outsourcing child care. I'm not saying to any of you to feel guilty that you have to work or that you're busy, but at the same time, lessons that you are now learning while you are in quarantine are invaluable. It's a wake-up call. We cannot return to the business as usual. We cannot go back. Let's take a look back for a moment and see what it is that children confront on a daily basis. And this is what they're having to go back to. They're having to go back to their daily activities at class and at school involves dodging and avoiding the drug dealers, the gangs, the bullies, being in danger of mass shootings and other terrorist acts. You might say, you don't have control over that. That's everywhere. That's true. But you have the awesome challenge of parenting children amidst all of this. And it's going to take all of us working together in order to turn this thing around. Again, I say this video is coming from a concerned grandparent who is still here and who have a lot of the wisdom and skills that you need as younger mothers and fathers in order to raise your children. Things cannot continue the way that they have gone. We must change. It's a matter of life and death now. There is no other way back. There is no other way to go. We have reached the end of this thing. When you have children who are capable, and you don't know, even as I speak, you don't know if you're raising a murderer. We are losing them every day, and we sit by idly watching because what? We are busy and preoccupied with our own schedules. Well, let me tell you, I'm here to inform you, with having been on both sides of this thing, busy does not excuse being a parent. Outsourcing your child rearing to somebody else, that has not worked. It is the responsibility of a man and woman who have produced that child. That's your God-given responsibility, and that cannot be outsourced. I was in the time period when that was the norm, when that was becoming the way to go, the thing to do. You know, you put your child in daycare and you go to work. You get you a job. You go and you finish your education. All of that is good, and I applaud us for that. We came a long way, but at the same time, we lost something. In America, at one time, children was considered our most valuable resource. And that has not changed. That has not changed. For many of you, you're sitting there looking at me saying, well, I'm a single mother. I have to work. I am the sole breadwinner. I've walked in those shoes. I was one of those that came out of the 60s as well when divorce was rampant. And I got swept away in that current as well. And there are many casualties out there today who are victims and casualties of divorce. I didn't go with the norm. I raised 6 children by myself as a single mother. I turned to God as my partner. He gave me the help, the inspiration, and the courage that I needed in order to raise those children and put godly values in them in the midst when everything was falling apart, when values was no longer the norm. I stood against the grain, and so can you, because God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And if he did it for me, he'll do it for you. I have worked for years, and I still work. I volunteer with the juvenile justice system. I work with those first-time juvenile offenders standing against incarceration. And I will continue to be the advocate of children, which is why I'm sitting here. I don't know that much about technology, but I decided to give it a whirl. I looked at it. I said, if some of these younger children can get on YouTube and all of this and do their thing, so can I. Because what? I have something to say, something that I hope that's important to you that will make a difference, that will cause you to want to turn this thing around. We cannot continue going in the direction we have gone in. Now, what have we learned, from being in timeout? I would like to think that many of you have learned that you don't have to have near the things that you thought you had. And what I mean by things, material goods. Even with some of you have realized the income, you can make it with less. And I challenge you to do that, because what your children need you. They don't need the things. And I guarantee you, if you ask your child what is a preference with them, whether to have material things or to have you there with them, giving them their time and attention, which COVID has provided you with a time out to reconnect with your child, I guarantee you your children would say they would rather be with you. And I might add, no one can do with your child what you can do. There's no other entity out here that can do the job that you've been called to do. And that's what I'm here for, pleading with you to get back on the job of parenting your children. And there are many others like me who stand ready to support you. We must ask ourselves some important questions, some very important questions. And it's a concern that weighs heavily on my heart. When I hear the report that children have and show no remorse after they have done wrongful things, no remorse, that children today do not have within them what is expected to be within a human being. Who can do that? Who can teach them to be human other than you? We have to put the godly traits in our children, such as kindness, love, self-control, temperance. And I know this may sound foreign to many of you because you don't have those things yourself. But you desire for your children. I know you do. I know you desire the best for your child. I know you said you did it all for them so they could have what you didn't have, so you could give them opportunities that you didn't have. Well, we're in a decade and time now where that is a dangerous thing. You cannot afford to make that kind of judgment call. We're in a different time, a different era that's going to cause for us to think differently and to think outside the box. Because we have a generation and we have our future as well that's on the line here. COVID was just a time to make us even more aware of what our kids face on a daily basis. They're in the threat of dying every day because of the environment. It wasn't just COVID. COVID can be used as a time out for us to reassess and reevaluate our priorities. Before we get up and go again, we must think about this thing and what it is that we're sending our children out into, and what it is, the type of world that we are living, that we are creating ourselves. We must come together to turn this thing around. It cannot be business as usual. Now, in order to teach patience, you have to demonstrate that to children. Children learn by what they see parents do. That's how you raise them. It's what they see you do. If you're smoking, they're going to smoke. If you're consuming alcohol with every decision you have to make or time you hit the door because you're exhausted, you got to have a drink in your hand or you got to smoke, don't think that that's not what they're going to do. They model what they see. It doesn't matter what the celebrities do or say, but you, that parent, you are the one that they're going to look at and see if you did it, they feel it's okay. And as you know, they'll tell anybody, you're not my mama. If my mama do it, it's okay. Now, where did they get that lesson from? Oh, I remember the time long before we got to this era of where there's no respect for authority whatsoever. That was not our culture. Respect was always there. And the generation came and said, okay, respect has to be earned. Oh, yes, but at the same time, the flexibility that we have given to our children, that has caused that much destruction. See, living in that time when it's your thing, do what you want to do, that doesn't work anymore. We're living with what do your own thing does for you. We're looking at it. We're reaping that every day. It's your thing, do. That's why we can't connect now. Because everybody gets to do their own thing. But we're in a time period now where we need to rethink that. We need to rethink that and go again. But go again fresh. Go again with a new drive. Go again with new thought, because we cannot think in the same way that we created these problems. We got to rethink and go a different direction. We got to take a look at here while you have a time in quarantine to take a look at some things. This is what you need to look at, not just how you going to get out there and profit, how you going to be able to maintain your market. I understand that. But at the same time, we have something more important on the line, which is what? Us as human beings. And you can't get no greater than us. And the time that we invest in us. I put before you a serious question that I would like for you to consider while you're sitting in quarantine. I don't think it was happenstance. I thank God that it brought you back in connection with your child. I thank God for it. Not for the lives that it has taken. No one could be grateful for that, but I remorse with those who remorse. And I grieve with those who grieve. But there's some good that has come out of this. And we are the ones to make that good show. And to walk out of COVID a new breed of people. A people with a new destiny. A people with a thirst for life. Not just life, but a quality life. I leave you with this question. Who is raising America's children? I won't take up too much more of your time. And I appreciate you from listening to a grandmother that's concerned about you and the future of not only this nation, but our children. And that we give them our very best. Thank you for listening.